Hey, yo, what's up, everyone? Um, okay, my name is Christian. I'm really excited to be here today, and I'm glad everyone can make it out. A little bit about myself. I'm 21 years old. My mom is Native American and Italian. My dad is Guatemalan. My mom had a rough childhood and was in foster care a lot as a child. My dad left Guatemala at 16 and made the journey to the U.S. border for a better life. I'm from the Seattle area and was born at Swedish Hospital. At the time I was born, my mom was living in a homeless shelter downtown, the Union Gospel Mission, and I spent the first 4 years of my life there with her. She eventually got a job at the mission, and we were able to move into our own apartment in Kent, where I started kindergarten. From early on, I would get into trouble at school, and in second grade, I was put on Adderall because I would get in a lot of fights, and I would distract other kids. I fell behind in school and in learning, and even now, I still feel like I'm trying to catch up. And during this time, I would see my dad every other week, but around the time I was 8, he moved to Whidbey Island, and I would rarely see him after that. I was on my own a lot of the time, and I felt that something was missing in my life. Without a role model to look to, I've never had that guidance. I wish I would have had more time to spend with my dad. I wish we could have gone fishing or to ball games more regularly. So while I was younger, I came to believe that I didn't need anyone. My mom would be gone all day, and I would be home alone and would go out and get in trouble with my friends. From the time I was 7, we would go out and steal bikes and steal from Dollar Tree and get into fights in the neighborhood. But in 5th grade, CPS came and took me away from my mom and placed me with my dad. We would live in a trailer in a remote area that was quiet and peaceful, but I missed my home life and life with my mom. Running around with my friends too as well. I was a little uncomfortable because I never lived with my dad before. The language was different, the food was different, and I felt different. I felt like somewhere I didn't belong. And I was confused because some stranger just came and got me one day from school, and I never went back home. I never saw my old friends again or my school again. I was still getting in a lot of trouble at my dad's. I even stole $700 one time from his church offering one time in 7th grade, man. But some more things happened, and I was sent to juvenile detention where I spent a year at Echo Glen. It felt weird. I was 12 years old, and I was locked up away from home and everything that I knew. I missed that year of that life of growing up. I remember there were no mirrors at Echo Glen, and when I got out a year later, I saw my reflection, and I literally didn't recognize myself. When I left the detention center, I went back to live with my mom. It was difficult because my mom had relapsed and lost her job and was unemployed. I had been gone for more than a year of her life and a couple years, you know what I'm saying? So getting out of juvie just wasn't a really good time for us. I started 8th grade at Denny Middle School. I continued to struggle in school. When I got to high school, I started smoking weed and would get high all the time. I didn't see the value of the time, and I ended up dropping out. Looking back, I wish I would have taken advantage of school and graduated. But instead, I was smoking a lot of weed and skipping class. And around that time in my life, when I thought of my future, I just saw a lot of drugs and illegal activities. This put a lot of stress on my mom, causing us to argue and fight a lot. And life was difficult at home. My mom heard about Youth Build and thought it sounded like a good idea for me. Youth Build is a YouthCare's 6-month pre-apprenticeship construction program. You work on getting your GED while learning construction skills, and then you get plugged into union job opportunities in the end. So, when I was 18, I entered the program. I didn't really want to do it. I didn't know what to expect. I felt very unmotivated and wasn't excited about it at all. I did it mainly because my mom wanted me to, and because all of my friends were in jail or in prison at the time. I didn't want to end up like that in a situation like that for myself, but I didn't want to be there. And the pressure of my mom's expectations felt stressful. I struggled to get to program every day. I wasn't interested, and I felt like there were easier, if illegal ways of making quick cash. I didn't know anything about construction at the time, and I do mean nothing. I didn't know what a nail did or what screws did. I didn't know what any of the tools or how to use them. It was all completely foreign to me, and I wasn't really interested about learning about it. But about halfway through the program, we started to take field trips to YouthCare's partner job sites, and this got my attention. They fed us this amazing food and toured us through their sites and beautiful office spaces. But most of all, seeing the workers there and their dedication showed me a glimpse of something I could become. And for the first time, I began to feel interested. When we went to tour Anderson Construction, it left an everlasting impression. It was so nice there, and everyone felt like an expert at what they were doing. I met Chad, the senior superintendent at Anderson, and I was very impressed with how knowledgeable and experienced he seemed. Right away, he felt like a role model that I wanted to look up to. Chad and everyone at Anderson started from the beginning, or Chad and everyone else started from the beginning as an apprentice, just like I am now. And I felt like if they could do this, then I could do it too. They showed me what I could do and where I could be. I began to try harder at Youth Build, and I began to discover that I could actually pass my GED test. On the last day of the very last test, I passed by 1 point, and it felt unreal. Thank you. But yeah, it felt like if they could do this, then anyone could. Or if I could do this, then it felt like anyone could. I'm grateful to the staff at Youth Build. I feel like they were really trying to help me, and they would always follow through with their word and what they said to me. Nick, the GED teacher, is one of the smartest teachers I've ever had. He's so well-rounded in all the subjects, and he really truly gets to know you. Nick, with his patience and dedication, was the reason I was able to pass my GED test. He told me, let's get this done. Terry is a very loud and encouraging man. He knew, He knew a lot about the trade world and how to break it down. He was the one who could tell you how it's really going to be and what you were actually going to be doing. Jamie Rose, the program leader, went the extra mile to encourage me through the program. They set up all these field trips and partner sites that got my attention by showing me what I could have. They helped me get into YouthCare's Home of Hope when I was in need of housing. And they helped me get my internship with Anderson after I graduated from the program. Jamie Rose was persistent in supporting me if in any way I needed. Before I came to YouthCare, I didn't know there were programs and people to help me in these ways. Youth Build changed my life. If I hadn't done the program, I feel like I would have ended up, like my friends, in prison. There were things in my past, my record, that prevented a lot of job options. But this program gave me a second chance for a real future and to become someone I didn't know I could be. I've done a lot of wrong in my life, and I don't blame my parents or anyone else for my actions. I'm trying to make things right now, and I honestly believe that's why I go so hard in everything that I do. I believe that's what drives me. Yeah, sometimes I get sad, and sometimes I feel alone, and like I don't need anyone. But I'm growing beyond that, and I'm learning that it's okay to connect with others. And I also understand I gotta love myself before I can love others, and that's what makes me so strong. When I started Youth Build, I didn't know what a nail was, but now I love carpentry and the crew that I work with. And I am now a fourth period apprentice, what makes me halfway through my apprenticeship. I want to continue the journey up in construction and save enough money to buy my own home, and in a handful of years, hopefully start a family. I want to give my kids a future where I'm always there for them. I want to be an involved and supportive father who's there at my kids' plays or activities, and this is truly present. I'm even going to encourage them to read the dictionary. I want to move somewhere quiet to raise my kids, and when they're old enough, I'm going to take my tools and build them a treehouse. It will have handrails for safety and a ladder and a rope to pull up their toys. Maybe we can build it together, and I can teach them what a hammer and nails do, and how you can build your own future and the things you want in this life when you are taught to use the tools around you. Thank you for coming out and listening to my story today.